So somehow I have more storage on here than I did before, and I only like finished like a couple books and remember to delete them on the Kindle. And not to delete them, but like to offload them, not offload the, you know, cancel, not cancel, like what do you call it? I know it's, I don't know. Anyway, it's library haul and a review of the books I have read since then. So I am thinking of doing, not thinking of doing, because I'm not going to do it, that's the whole point. So those of you who might be wondering when am I ever going to review the books I got for Christmas, that's going to be something that I want to put a lot of effort into, more than I do for this, more than just, filming it raw and not and unedited. I want to edit it and then like have like a bunch of like, when I show off the book, like say I'm talking about Alex plus Ada, I show the book right on like in the upper corner, and of course I do show it like like, oh, here's the book, yada yada yada, but also have on the above corner like a lot of YouTubers do, and then like, oh, you won't be just seeing me, you'll be seeing interior artwork, and that's a lot of work, and I want to do that. That's the reason, instead of doing this like, oh, here's the artwork, yada yada yada, no, I have it full right front and center in full screen mode. But anyways, first one up you saw was Lore Olympus. That's book 2, volume 2. So it's getting kind of dark, so I hope I have enough time to film this. I hate doing nighttime filming. Filming at nighttime, because I gotta do the lighting, and it's so really bad. Like even the new setup I have will just adding up a light, was only adding a light over there. Finally, got to plug that back into where it belongs. Even then, it's gonna be a lot. And it's not going to be a lot. Even then, it's probably not going to change much. So, let's get right on it. For the reviews, so this is also going to be a sort of a season finale again, like it did last time. Sort of a season finale like it did last time, where it's the end of, but it's going to be kind of a series finale kind of thing, where after today, I'm going to try and not do one video for everything. It's gonna be a video to review the books, and then a video with the new books. Review the old books and a separate video. There'll be 2 separate videos, not one whole video. Because I feel like some of you guys might just want to see what I'm getting, and might just want to see what I'm reviewing, and to call it like, oh, the books I'll be reading this week plus the ones plus the ones I've read last week sounds really weird. So that's probably what I end up trying to do. And that way, if I want to show the interior artwork, I have the book to show off. Because sometimes I don't. Because almost all the times every single time I haven't had it, because I return the books obviously in order to get the new ones. So I'm gonna go in this order. Next up, they finally had Sandman Volume 4. I think I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to put in, I think I said this last time, but no matter what, I'm going to put in the next volume into the Gmilk's library. If my local library has it, fine, but if they don't, But even if then, I think the only way they're allowed to do that, because if anything, they just put it on my holds in my local library, not the Gmilk's, other libraries going to my library. Again, Intraloans and Gmilk's is other libraries. You go to internet, you go like a catalog on the internet, you put it in the book, they get whatever library has it, and then it goes to your library. So you're going to have to go all the way to the library that's like 20 miles away. Go to your local one. Next to... Where is it? It should be right here, too. I don't know why it's not. Oh, stick them all out. Sticking them all out. Yep, got it. The next 2 are the same series, and that is Sleepless. This is by Sarah Vaughn. I realized it just before I saw it. This was a pretty good series. It's just a reread. It was because I had read her Alex Posada. She did Alex Posada. I wanted more of the Sarah Vaughn because it sounded familiar. I was like, oh, that's where it comes. That's where it came from. That's where I remember her from. It's already getting dark. All right, so the next 3. Oh, I did that thing. Crap. All right, sorry. Just what's something I forgot to do. Next 3 is Star Wars, Darth Vader, and Cable plus Deadpool. Cable and Deadpool. Star Wars Volume 3, Darth Vader Volume 3, and Cable and Deadpool Volume 4. I almost picked up Volume 3 because it's what I had on my phone. I think what I did is I just forgot to change it, and then when I was today when I was going to get the books, I was like, Was it volume 3 or volume 4? Because I knew volume 3 sounded like it was not too recent, too old. No, not it didn't tell right. Next one up is I Love Trouble by Kel Simmons, and this is an Image comic, which is weird to me because it should be weird to me if anything, because I looked up Kel Simmons Image comics, and he doesn't have his own page. He has his own page, but it has nothing on it, even though he's done work for Image Comics. Everyone else, it shows at least one book for them if they have their own page, you know. Then we got Daredevil Reborn. This is by Andy Diggle. I do not know where this takes place. I don't know if it's just like a four issue miniseries, like out of continuity, or if it's a 4-issue miniseries in between, say, the Bendis and Mark Waid run, or Ed Brubaker run. Rather. Speaking of Bendis, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Wanted, the only one they had to get on the Interloans. Interloans, not Gmail. Gmail didn't have it for whatever reason. They have every other volume but this one. It's like, that must have been annoying for people. 6 to 10. It was like 4 issues. This next one, it says it's Image Comics on the website, and right here does too. But on the back, on the spine, you don't see Image. You see that. It's way down below, but even then, like, they never do that. Only Dark Horse does that, I feel. And I think DC Comics too. But this is King City by Brandon Graham. Now this one is a very, very weird one. Now I'm flipping through it right here, and it seems like it seems like an actual story. There's no like, it's just an actual, like, the narrative. But on the Amazon solicits, and probably on the back here, it says like, oh, it's puzzles and wordplay, but it's an actual. When you look further down, and they say this character goes through this, and it's like, okay, so it's an actual plot for the story. Of course, they're all being allowed the worst time. All right, so hopefully you'll hear it too much. Next one up, I can't do a second cut. I can't. If I do a second cut, I'm gonna have to do it tomorrow because I'm losing sunlight. I hate doing nighttime videos because the lighting is terrible on those. Anyways, Gravity's Wall, Ron V. I don't know why I feel like it's like a worse thing to for you guys to hear background noise. Ooh, no, you guys know that I live in a house with people. This next one is a very controversial book, and I had forgotten all about this series until like recently, and I was like, oh, I wonder if my library has it, and they did. And this is one of those books that I'm only getting because they have. Honestly, I got America. It's one of those types of books that no one likes. But I just wanted to read it because it seemed like it was like one of those books that like was criminally panned. Not critically, but like Comic Book Roundup, the user reviews are terrible. That's one I trust. I don't trust critics anymore at all. But the book in question is Home, Volume 1. Again, I only got this because of the fact that they have my local library, and I always want to check it out. I always say like, oh yeah, this book looks really good, you should check it out. Well, you can say the same, but this book is so bad that you should check it out, like with America and all the others. This next one I was looking up Horizon when I was looking up Horizon recently. I think it was just to make sure that it was. Why was I looking it up? Oh, it was to see if it was still in stock. Because I like doing that with super stutter. My God, it's like I'm starting to have a stroke or some shit. But anyways, when I was looking up Horizon, it was to see if it was still in stock. Because I like doing that with the books that I just bought, and because I was like, oh, it'd be nice, because sometimes it'll be not my favorite. Sometimes, my point is, sometimes what will happen is there's a series I'm looking forward to get, but looking forward to purchase, it's out of stock. Like with the sword. I almost got a replacement for Volume 1. Almost. I'm kind of glad I didn't. Like, I'm happy if I got instead, but I was also like, I could have gotten a replacement. And what I would have done is I would have bought the book itself. I would actually technically not a replacement if it's been a copy of it, I would keep both copies. But anyways, Infinite Horizon by Jerry Duggan. I had seen this, I was looking up Horizon, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll check this out, so my local library has it. And it was a bit late. It was like, I think it was Monday when I looked it up. No, it was Sunday. That's when it was. And they got it to me by Wednesday. I think it would have gotten to me today anyways, either way, because of the fact that I went 2 days later. I would have gotten yesterday the books to come in on time, but it was really late. It was like 3 o'clock by the time I came in. And that was too late for anybody. And it was my sister's birthday, so I couldn't go after my mom got home from work, like I usually do sometimes. That's kind of my like last resort kind of thing. Like if someone, it's only 2 people, like technically 3, but I think there's 2. Okay, so Civil War 2. Speaking of 2, I don't know. I wanted to talk. Oh, yeah, that's right too. There's a reason for why I got this book. So Civil War 2 I put in a long time ago because I wanted to read it again because it was that series I kind of liked. I like the whole Civil War in general, like all it's the original by Mark Millar, almost all the spin-offs, and all the spin-offs I've read actually I liked. Frontline, even I was kind of like, oh, this is too much, a bit too much. But Civil War 2 I actually did like, and so I put it in a while back I wanted to reread it after so long, and they didn't have it apparently. Then like months, almost a year later, I want to say, they said, oh yeah, we have it in stock now. Here you go. And I was like, thanks for not telling me. You know, I know that the way that they do it, they can't just like, they can't tell me ahead of time. It was the way she explained it. She didn't really explain, but she just said like the way that it happens, you know, I can't tell you ahead of time. I think thanks for telling me the fact that the computers, not the person himself, the computers. You know, whenever I get like, whenever I was gonna rant yesterday if I gone late, but or today I almost did, but it's the computers. The computers are slow because I feel like the books would have come in a lot earlier if it wasn't. Yeah, it was all G-Milks, and then the G-Milks truck came at like 11, and I always would get them at like 12ish, 1ish, which would have been perfect timing, you know. Bitterroot Volume 2, that'd be Volume 2. One more of this, and we're done. And I might have to get this somewhere. I'm probably gonna get the summer special somewhere else, unless they have it. I don't think they do though. I think the summer special came out after, which is weird. Like, why would you do that? Nope, it's here. It's here. Summer special. Nice. So there was no reason for me to get, it's 1989 too. There's no reason for me to get the compendium now. Well, they don't have Volume 3, but let's hope they don't. Let's hope they don't. Let's hope they do. Let's hope they do have it. Let's hope they don't not have it, as in double negative. That's what I meant to say, totally. Another book that they didn't have, but I guess I resubmitted it, and they just had it. It was a resubmission, it wasn't like it came in later. And that is Magneto by Cullen Bunn. Very good series. It's been so long since I've read it. I remember absolutely nothing. Like Civil War 2, I remember a lot from that. But Magneto was one of those books that I'm rereading because I liked it a lot, and I remember nothing. So I want to read it again. You know, sometimes what was the book I read? I don't know why I'm drawing a complete blank, but there's been plenty of, like with Low by Rick Remender, or believe it or not, Rat Queens. You know, those ones I read before, I didn't like and read it again, liked a lot more. And Rat Queens was like 2 weeks within each other, not even. What was it? Was more than that. I'm gonna say more than that, like at least, not. You know what I said before. Hellblazer Volume 8, probably the last one in my library is gonna have, like at least the ones that go in order. So they won't have Volume 9, they'll have like Volume 15 or something. I want to get the Brian Azzarello one after this. You know, I'm not going to care about going in order. What I'm going to do after that, they don't have Volume 9 or Volumes 9 and 10, at least. What I'll do is I'll just get the ones I want, like the Brian Azzarello one. Pick that one up. And there's a one by Annie Diggle, I think. Yeah, there is. Alright, I really got to speed that. I talk too much about a certain book, and I feel a need to be like very specific sometimes, too. I like telling stories like, oh, this book, the reason why I put this one in with Home, it was because it was so bad and I wanted to read it to see how bad it was, and it's free, so why not? And then with the Civil War 2, like, oh, this book came in late, because I got something in my throat now, come on. Always when I'm filming. The Few. Sean Lewis. Pretty thick book for only collecting 6 issues. Like, it's going to take me a long time to read each issue. I'll probably make that one the last one. Because I don't like making the first one, because I sometimes wake up like at 10:45, and then like I have to like still eat breakfast, so you know it's. So I read some of the book, you know, some of the first issue. I'm getting too over involved. Wonder Woman Volume 2, and I over involved. Specific. You guys don't care about my routine. Not to say that I'm not annoyed about that. Obviously, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like you guys just want to see the books and see me review books, and sometimes I'm sure somebody gets like little stories, but going too specific, I'm getting sidetracked. Is what I'm trying to say. The Defenders Volume 2 by Bendis. Figured why not. I wasn't the biggest fan of Volume 1. I still liked it. But there was like, if it was like a 5-volume series, my library only had like 1 through 2, I wouldn't have gotten. I wouldn't have bothered getting Volume 2. But there's only 2 volumes. I wonder why. But it's always been to be a mini series, honestly. Ultimate Avengers by Millar. I really like the series. I remember reading Volume 1 and Volume 2, Volume 1 and Volume 3 way back in the day. I never got Volume 2, so now I have it. Because I own Volumes 1 and 3. And I reread Volume 1. It still held up pretty well. Oh, I just one book I'm supposed to review. Whoops. I'll show it. Yeah, I guess. Ooh. Oh, well. On the stump. Because I have different places I put my books that I finished. Sometimes like I'll put in this pile and sometimes put in that pile. And Avengers is in a different pile than the ones I'll be seeing me review. On the Stump is by Chuck Brown. He did the art. He did it. I think it seems like he did the artwork. I think for I don't know. He was definitely involved. He was involved in Bitterroot, at the very least. Batgirl Deadline. Return of the Living Deadpool by Bunn. Don't know why I never put that in after I read Night of the Living Deadpool for the first time. Maybe it was just that kind of nonplussed about it. I was like, I'm not gonna even bother looking it up. DMZ, back on that series. I know I said I didn't like it. It's not that I said, it's not I don't like the series, it's just that I was getting kind of annoyed with it, because it was just like, it didn't seem like it was going anywhere. But now that I'm on the Brian Wood kick after getting the books from Christmas, for Christmas, now I want to read DMZ. So might as well, if we're gonna read a Brian Wood book. And finally, Eat the Rich, which I've always heard. I've heard about this series kind of here and there, but I can't tell you from who. Maybe Gem Mint, maybe Comic Tom, maybe your boy Zach, he's the one who hated Home. He's the whole reason I knew that book was even existed, honestly. Okay. Now let's get on to the reviews. I'm going to start with the floppies. I'm going to start with the books. Starting with a book that you guys will be shocked that I just got down to finishing this book. I always started but never finished it, but I just now finished Watchmen. And is there a whole lot I can say about this book that everyone else hasn't said? No. Do I have a differing opinion? Sort of. I obviously like this book. It's obviously a very influential book for many, many creators. Probably has so much influence on other people that even I would never be able to decipher it. If I did a deep dive into the Watchmen, into who exactly who had the most influence and what we wouldn't have today because of if Watchmen never existed, what we wouldn't have today. Even I would miss some. Even I wouldn't factor in probably. John Arcudi is very influenced by Watchmen. That's the whole reason why he got into comics, even though he writes a lot of horror stuff, and then Hellboy kind of stuff. But this is obviously a fantastic book. But my one major downside, but this is it's still an 9 out of 10 out of 10 perfect book. But it's the stuff at the end. This stuff right here. Come on, I just had it. Now, it starts out pretty nice. It starts out with the Hollis Mason book, excerpts from the non-existent book. That I liked. But then you get into stuff like the telling you how Dr. Manhattan, it was going... Oh, that's still the Hollis Mason book. I didn't think we were on the Hollis Mason book. Yeah, this. This was annoying. It's just a file, it was a weird... write-up of Dr. Manhattan and what he can do. And it was interesting, a bit interesting, but it was nothing that the comic hadn't already told me. At least the Hollis Mason book was a little extra, a little bonus, here's some lore. Cool. About, on Hollis Mason. That's nice, but the added stuff for Dr. Manhattan, that just, in one ear and out the other for me. That was the only thing I didn't like about that book, and that's such a small, minuscule thing. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say to avoid the book because of that at all. I would say if you don't like the stuff at the end, skip it. If you don't like the super texty. Like, there's a lot of text. It's basically like reading a book, and it's bigger size, so it's like a lot. Take a lot longer to read each issue. That was about it. That was the only thing I didn't like about that book. It's a perfect book. A bit dated here and there, yes, because it's so old. It's the first of its kind, so it kind of has that like not stereotype, not stigma, but has that kind of like, you know, it's something I can't escape, obviously, to where it does that, to where it's like it's so hard to explain. I'm gonna know the exact phrase to use once I stop filming, but it's like obviously like the first action movie obviously is gonna have a lot of like not tropes, but it's gonna have a lot because like other action movies came out afterwards that took what that action movie did and they improved upon it. That's kind of what other people have done. They take what Watchmen gave them and they brought something new to the table. Watchmen is just kind of like it's still good, obviously, and it's still the best of its kind, but it's still, you know, the first of its kind too. There's that too. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. Next one up, ironically enough, is Civil War. I really, really like this comic. I don't care what anybody says. I really like this comic and Mark Millar's writing. And it's not too controversial, unless if you only watch Comic Pop, that is. It's very controversial, but if you watch anyone else besides Comic Pop, people will say, yeah, Mark Millar is a good writer. Comic Pop hates Mark Millar, and ironically enough, loves Tom King. Like, they love Tom King as much as I love Brian, like, as much as I like 100 Bullets. I really love 100 Bullets. Probably more so than that, honestly. I'd say more. As Brian Azzarello. So, and it's kind of funny they don't like Brian. They don't like Brian. I don't like him either. But I don't like Mark Millar's writing for the same reasons they kind of like Tom King. Like Tom King kind of writes like he's very nihilistic sometimes. So is Mark Millar. But Tom King is just like too much. Like he's too nihilistic sometimes. He's too like your boy Zach calls him like a mommy wife. And if you've read his books, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I like his books. I'm closer to Comic Pop's stance than your boy Zach's stance and anyone else's stance. I'm kind of in the middle, if anything. I really like what I've read so far. Strange Adventures. I'll be reading Rorschach pretty soon here. Now that I've read Watchmen. Next up is Secret Wars. My favorite issue of this series was issue 12. Not because it was finally over, but because it gave me everything I wanted. It was action-packed when it needed to be, more dialogue-centric when it needed to be, but so much of this book is, like, filled with dialogue. And I thought by 1984 we were over this. We were over the insane amounts of dialogue, you know, the whole, like explaining what's going on. Like, I am Dr. Doom, and I'm going to murder this person. Yes, that is I, Dr. Doom, who is going to do that. You know, it's kind of like that kind of thing, and it's like monologuing and like all that kind of stuff like that. All that stuff that I hate in comics is all rolled into one. And some of what I like. So there's a good healthy balance, but not enough for me. I did not like this book that much. I liked issue 12 because it gave me exactly what I wanted. I know books from 1980 aren't going to be as fast paced as something from the modern age. Obviously not. But it almost felt like it was from the Silver Age, and the writer was writing for Silver Age, but he was stuck in the Bronze Age. No, actually, it wasn't. Yeah, it was still Bronze Age. Maybe I just didn't factor it in, but I did because I read plenty of books from that era, even ones from like earlier than that, like 10 years ago that flowed a lot better and had a lot less dialogue than this did. It was just so dialogue heavy, so wordy. Way too wordy for my tastes, and that really brings down a book for me. It's one of those things that someone else is gonna be fine with it and isn't gonna mind, but it matters to me. Now, if there's a point for it being super wordy, I understand. But this one, it was a lot of that stuff that you could just cut the dialogue in half and you would still get the same impact. Then we got Batman, The Flash, The Button, and I really enjoyed this one too. It's by Tom King. This is the best Tom King Batman book, honestly, because apparently he had help from Jeff Johns, and of course Josh Williamson too. I don't know if he did team up with him on one issue, but I don't think it was all the issues that Tom King did. You know what I mean? And Tom King did not join up with Joshua Williamson either. Did I keep saying Brian Azzarello? I may have said Brian Azzarello. I meant Joshua Williamson. I'm pretty sure I said it right. It's just it feels like I didn't equally. So I gotta get going. Come on, there you go. Nope, there's Tom King. Wait. Yeah. Oh, special thanks to Jeff Johns and Joshua Williamson. According to Comic Pop, because I watched their review on this book, they said that Jeff Johns helped out with Tom King. Probably why it was so good. 'Cause even they, as much as they love Tom King, they don't like his Batman run. Even they don't like his Batman run. All right, now on to some controversial to a controversial pick. This is Spider-Man by J.J. Abrams, and I actually like this book. I know it's terrible. I know it's one of those books that's really uh here's the artwork. When I try and get my thoughts in order. I know it's really stupid, and I know it's one of those books that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's a prime example of how far J.J. Abrams has fallen. But I still like it. I do. I know it's never gonna be in my top 10 underrated Spider-Man. Not even on that. I probably won't even talk about it after this, but I honestly kind of like it. Next up is Sword of Hyperborea. This is a very confusing book, but a very good book. I know it sounds weird, but that's only way I can really explain it. There's some books, like, I don't mind if they're confusing, as long as they're at least interested. Like, you don't care what's going on. You're just, like, you're lost in the moment, you know? Like, you're on a roller coaster ride. You fell asleep halfway into it, and you just woke up, and now you don't know what's going on a roller coaster. Or a movie, maybe. Even a movie, I don't want to do that, but there was a terrible, terrible analogy. Eternals. Kieran Gillen's worst work that I've read so far. Now, I love Kieran Gillen. He wrote Wicked and Divine, a series I almost want to purchase myself, even though my library has the entire series, and it's not ongoing anymore. It's ended its run, so there's no more of it coming out, so why would I get the book myself? That's how much I like his writings. I want everything he's done that I've read so far. Except for Eternals. Next up is Batman. Oh, and Batman. Doesn't matter. Batman. I was gonna say how many issues it is, but it doesn't really matter. Batman Universe. Next up, and this is by Brian Michael Bendis. His best work at DC is all collected in this 6-issue miniseries. If you are skeptical about getting into if you're skeptical about getting into Brian and Michael Bendis' DC work, just pick this up. I think I kept saying Brian Azzarello. I have Brian Azzarello in my mind. It doesn't help that it was, both two Brians. Next up is Punisher by Jerry Duggan. Bring back this Punisher. This is the Punisher we want. No more of this like ninja Punisher where they're gonna take everything away that you liked with the Punisher. Now, it's something interesting too, like a ninja Punisher. That sounds very awesome. But they're doing it. They're gonna take away his guns and everything, and they're gonna permanently do that too. And it's no secret either. As much as they might try and they may be trying to hide it. Everyone knows their ulterior motive. Justice League Last Ride. And Punisher was a good series. It's probably one of my favorite Punisher books, honestly. I haven't read a whole lot of Punishers, I can't say, but it's definitely the best Punisher I've read in a while. Which, again, isn't saying a whole lot. I never read a bad Punisher book. So next up is Justice League Last Ride, this by Chip Zdarsky. It's insanely good. I have read this like 400 times, and it's just as good as the 401st. Definitely pick up this series if you haven't already. It's worth every penny. Even at $20 for only 7 issues, which actually is a good price even compared to Image Comics. Because when what is it called? Do Powerbomb. That's gonna come out with 7 issues from Image Comics, be $24.99 for no reason. Invisible Woman. This is by Mark Waid. While it's not gonna be as good as his Fantastic Four run, it's still a good book. Still a really interesting story which is pretty good, honestly. It's like surprisingly good for just like a throwaway. This is gonna sell well, but I want to write an Invisible Woman story. It seemed very throwaway because it's not too like mired in continuity. It's kind of out in continuity, but it's also in continuity. But you can read that no problem. But all you need to know is that the Fantastic Four returned. No, it's definitely takes place in present day. Is what I'm trying to say. Avengers Defenders Tarot a nice throwback 4-issue miniseries. It's very zany and insane, and it's kind of like a bit disappointing if you want a lot of Diablo, but it's a very good book. If you don't take it, if you don't, it's kind of, I guess you could technically say turn your brain off and you'll enjoy it, but I didn't need to do that to enjoy it. Spider's Shadow. Give Chip Zdarsky a Spider-Man ongoing already. Everything he's done for Spider-Man has been insanely good. Like Eisner Award winning. Like, this should win an Eisner. That's how good this book is. And bring back What If. Like, just bring it back as like a, do like a little 5-issue, 10-issue miniseries. I wouldn't mind that, honestly. Because I'm one of those people who hates when there's so much to pick up for like a certain week. So I go monthly, so obviously it's gonna be a lot to pick up. But I feel like it's ludicrous at times. And they're worth it for me. And finally, Marvel's X by Alex Ross. Very good. Very good prequel to a series I haven't read yet, to be fair, so I don't know how... I mean, it's the same creative team, so it can't be too much of an insult, because it's the same guys, They're not going to try and insult their own book, But very good prequel series, and honestly, I want more of that, which I will get with Earth X. But I want to get the omnibus now, because I don't want to stop at Earth X, I feel, at least. I heard the follow-ups aren't too great, but I still want it all, I have the first 2 issues of the follow-up, like I got like way back in the day, so I'll see how it is. If I like it, then I'll decide to get the omnibus. Omnibus is out of print, and I don't think there's any chances of it getting a reprint anytime soon. But that, as they say, is that. And we are only 30 minutes in. Nice. That's it.